Lieutenant Nagander of the 9th Company of the Silver Templars awoke to find himself unarmored, chained to a wall in a place unknown. His head and face were chained in place, as was his arms and legs. No amount of force could free him, and he could not move his head to use his acid spit upon the chains. Calming his mind, Nagander thought back to what had happened. Chapter Master Zaneris had directed him and a squad of Hellblasters from 9th Company to take a Hunter-class escort and investigate a series of mysterious raids against imperial facilities on the edge of the realm of Ultramar. Their prey was cunning and fast, forever eluding them, but after months of the hunt, they had finally found their quarry. Orbiting an agri-world beside the wreckage of a traitor Alpha Legion vessel, a battle barge, the ID markers labeling it as the Lupercal's Remembrance. A deeper scan revealed its true name to be the Windlance of Chogoris, a former vessel of the White Scars. Wishing for more information to take back to the chapter, Nagander had ordered his ship to move closer, to scan the battle barge with enhanced Auspex and auger scanners. That, Nagander realized in hindsight, was a mistake. The battle barge, thought by Nagander to be blind, suddenly burned its engines and pounced upon the hunter. Nagander did not think that a ship so large could move so fast, and as fast as lightning, bombardment guns ripped through the hunter's shields and blasted apart the ship's engines. Then, Nagander remembered now, trying to run to the reactor to scuttle the vessel. The teleport flare upon the bridge, the 6 hulking Terminators appearing before them, raising his power sword, and then he awoke here. So this was not his ship. Nagander realized that he must be aboard the Traitor Legion battle barge, but he did not despair. He was a Silver Templar, a Knight of Navarus. He would not despair. He would break free of this place, strike down all traitors in his path, and bring what he knew back to his chapter. This he swore in the name of the Primarch. Nagander didn't have time to think any more when the door in front of him opened and a hulking warrior in a suit of Terminator armor stood before him. Nagander was in no doubt that this was one of the warriors who was part of the teleport attack against his ship. He would not give this traitor any satisfaction if they chose to torture him, slay him, or if they tried to convert him to their traitorous cause. The hulking warrior spoke. "So, you are one of the new breed. Primaris Marine. I wonder if this is how the Thunder Warriors felt seeing the First Legion for the first time." Nagander would not speak. "Not talkative. I can appreciate that. You don't need to speak already. I know everything. Between your ship's data cores and what my Tizkin friend ripped from your mind, I have everything I need to know to understand what's going on here." Nagander still wouldn't speak, but internally was concerned. My, where are my manners? My name is Captain Croesus Argentus of the 88th Company, 16th Legion, Sons of Horus, and I welcome you, new cousin, to my ship, the Lupercal's Remembrance. Nagander grimaced at the mention of Horus and his legion. "I apologize for the destruction of your ship and your current incarceration. Normally when we come across an imperial ship, we try to bluff our way out of the situation or move away without engaging in open hostility, unless we have to, of course. But our operations are at a delicate stage, and I couldn't risk you bringing the wrath of the Imperium down on us, so I'm afraid your ship had to die." Nagander grew angry at his captor's poisonous words. So, back to business. You and your squad were sent to investigate a series of raids against Imperial outposts around Ultramar. Not uncommon in this day and age. But these raids, No, these raids were not your common raids for supplies, material, or blood. No, the raids you were investigating were organized. Targets against specific targets. And what's more, strangely enough, these raids had limited collateral damage. Imperial worlds nearby where these raids took place were not attacked. And even stranger, all Xenos and Traitor Legion forces encountered by these raiders were attacked and destroyed themselves. A dozen Imperial worlds saved from attacks by these mysterious raiders. So, while the damage itself was not a cause for concern for your Imperial authorities, I imagine what was stolen is what have them alarmed. An Imperial Navy supply depot, a dozen cyclonic torpedoes stolen, Mechanicum Forge World, only a minor Forge World, but the theft of its Ordinatus engine and a handful of incomplete night warsuits I imagine would upset the Mechanicum, a Death Watch armory, and finally, an Inquisition outpost whose contents are classified. Someone who would steal these weapons must be planning something big. A soul who is even willing to use these weapons at all must either be insane or incredibly spiteful. Well, I may be guilty of theft, but I am not insane, nor am I particularly spiteful. The Gander was suddenly interested in this line of inquiry, but kept silent. Just to be honest, it was not just Imperial targets that I have raided. We borrowed 4 rusted virus bombs from the Death Guard, and our latest attack before this 20th Legion diversion was on a 4th Legion stronghold, where we managed to acquire a partial scrap code virus. I know what you're thinking. We did ask for everything we took before we attacked. It's not our fault that everyone chose to resist. If they had just given us what we wanted, we would have just left. But sadly not so. Nagander doubted that. This pompous fool taunting him with knowledge would not sway him or his dedication to his destruction. So, the next question you must be asking is, why did we steal these weapons at all? Perhaps we seek to attack a target. Perhaps something like Macragge, or Baal, or even Terra? Nagander grimaced and gurred. Finally a reaction. No, that is not my intention. Would you like to know a secret, new cousin? My secret is that I have no interest in destroying the Imperium anymore. Because I realized something. I realized a truth long ago, finally now come to light. Would you like to know what I realized? A moment of silence passed between the two before Crozer spoke again. I realized that everything we were told that would happen to the Imperium by our Primarch, all of the things we decided to wage war on the Imperium to prevent, they all came to pass. But it was by our hand, for our actions. The Emperor being worshipped as a god, that came to pass as a result of humanity needing a weapon of faith to combat chaos, the chaos that we unleashed. So, humanity made him into their own god to fight the gods of the warp. The legions being replaced, well, Crozus pointed at Nagander, out of desperation, I imagine, in response to 10,000 years of attacks by my traitor kin. Us legions being forgotten and reviled. I cannot blame you all for wanting to forget the monsters in the dark. Nagander was almost amused. Perhaps even traitorous filth could be self-reflective. So now what, you wonder? Perhaps you think I should have put a bolt round to myself or detonate our ship's reactor as punishment for our crimes. But I am not of that mind. I am a warrior. I am a son of Horus. Back when that name and that title meant something. The finest of all the legions. The first among equals when loyal. And even when not so loyal. So while I still draw breath, I am going to make that name mean something more than a half-forgotten rumour or a poisonous joke. I am going to rain fire and wrath against those who destroyed my legion. My poisonous brother Abaddon, who destroyed the soul of my legion after our heart was ripped out at Terra. He shall die 1,000 deaths and his soul consumed by 10,000 demons once I am done with him. Perhaps it is hypocrisy when I rail against Abaddon and his crimes, when I am guilty of so many things, but that is my crime to pay, and hypocrisy is something that all, the Emperor, the Primarchs, all the Astartes are guilty of. Nagander let the traitorous fool ramble on. So why are we speaking at all, you wonder? Perhaps it's because I want someone to speak to. Perhaps I wish to meet one of my new cousins, to take your measure. Or perhaps it's just a combination of the two. Nagander awoke, unchained upon snow-covered ground. Still unarmoured, he roused to wakefulness as he looked up to see a Thunderhawk gunship, green-coloured, with 3 figures standing upon the landing ramp. The identifiable figure of Croesus, a second warrior in Terminator plate, a great axe resting in his hands, and the third was armoured in crimson, a short gladius in his hands. Croesus noticed the wakefulness of the Silver Templar and addressed him. "Welcome back, young cousin." Nagander raised himself to his feet and clenched his fists. Now, that is no way to react to being freed, wayward cousin." Nagander kept his fists clenched and changed to a combat stance. Croesus ignored this. "We have decided to free you. It's the least we can do for you engaging me in such polite conversation." Nagander gritted his teeth and with every fibre of his body wanted to attack, but the twin heavy bolters of the Thunderhawk had him in their sights, and if he moved any step he would be dead in under a second. Croesus spoke again. "There is an agri station about 50 miles south of here. I am sure you'll be able to regain contact with your chapter from there." The 3 on the Thunderhawk turned to walk back into the gunship when Croesus stopped and turned again. "Oh, I almost forgot. From looking at your brother's memories, I am told that for one of your chapter, losing your weapon is a great dishonour. So here." Croesus tossed a power sword onto the ground, and Nagander realised that it was his own blade, lost during the attack on his ship. Nagander reached forward and picked up the blade. He was so tempted to attack the traitors, but the gunship's heavy bolters were still aimed at him, and Nagander knew he had a duty to inform the Imperium of all that he had heard. So he watched in silence as the gunship raised its ramp, took off, and flew from sight. Nagander tested the weight of his sword, finding it good. He swore a silent oath to see all the sons of Horus dead, and he began walking towards the valley, down south towards the supposed agri station.